Check the mic, we're going live. Stories told, they rise and dive. Topics fresh with every spin. You won't guess what's coming in. Every week a new surprise. Minds awake, never lies. Conversations bold and free. Tune in now, just wait and see. This podcast is uncalled for. Catch us here, there's so much more. Laughs and tales you can't ignore. A journey that will leave you floored. In the night or in the day, just press play, we're on our way. Voices sharp, opinions bright, talking through the day and night. Guests and hosts in perfect blend. You won't want this ride to end.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm very pleased to invite my dear friend Tamara Usman to the podcast. So, Tamara, good to see you.
Thank you, Michael. May I call you Mike?
Yes, you may.
It's my pleasure and honor. Mike and I met, do you think 15, 16 years ago now?
Yeah, 15, 16 years, yeah. So.
Yeah, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But we're both under the age of 30.
Yeah, we're just... I see what you did there. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So how have you been? Because it has been a while since I've last seen you. So.
Yeah, I think it's been a number of years. I've lived overseas here in Utila Island, Honduras, which is 1,700 miles as the Pelican flies directly south from Kansas City.
Nice.
So I've been on this Caribbean island just under 6 years, and it's been quite an adventure.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm still in KC, but that's okay. That's the life I've chosen.
Yes.
So yeah, what have you been up to down in Honduras?
Well, I moved here with my former spouse, and we moved here for semi early retirement. At the time, I was 45. I'm now almost 51. And it's been really interesting to live in an emerging country. Some people call Honduras a third world country. I say emerging because, we're all immigrants someplace. And a lot of times when somebody is called an expat, they usually have kind of a negative connotation that somebody's moving from Europe or sorry about that, from Europe or Canada or America, from a wealthy country to an impoverished country. So I don't call myself an expat here. I call myself both an immigrant and a member of the community. So the main thing I've been working on is my PhD in conscious business ethics. And so that's been almost 6 years in the making. I've been working on that process. So I'm on the home stretch. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. As I recall, you ran a couple of day spas up here and did massage and energy work, if I'm right.
Yes. Yes, you're absolutely correct, Mike. I have been in the career of massage therapy, specifically Hawaiian Lomi Lomi massage, which is a forearm dance with my forearms working on my client. And it's a very effective form of body work, as well as healing touch, which is an American holistic nursing form of energy work that follows protocols. So if you have pain in a big joint, you do this. If you have sinus infections in a small area, you do this. So it's a protocol-based, science-based form of energy work, and really the first of its kind. Most of us have heard of Reiki and many other forms of energy work. They're also wonderful and very effective. But like Reiki, for example, is based on a Buddhist form of meditation from a long time ago. And so that's why it's Reiki. It's a Japanese term. It's a Japanese word. And so yes, I've done that. And I continue to do that for the community here in Honduras. But I also teach the women here how, especially the women, I'm open to teaching men, but the women here seem to really enjoy learning a trade and a vocation here.
Excellent, excellent. So you're still doing all that down in Honduras, and
I am just on a much smaller scale as
hmm
opposed to having Aloha Day Spa and Aloha
right.
Wellness Centers. It's I work much fewer hours. Uh, that's the thing here is that most of us who are in America, we don't realize that there's a very big world and there's only 330 million Americans and
hmm
8 billion people on this planet. So we forget how other people live. And so living here for 6 years has been incredibly eye opening for me because, for example, one of my neighbors, literally, Mike, has a lean to for a home. They have three walls. They
hmm
can't afford that fourth wall, and they're working hard to get that fourth wall.
Nice.
And so when you see it, it puts it in perspective that our champagne problems, if you will, or the things that we consider serious, our Wi-Fi went out. Well, that's normal here.
hmm Yeah, yeah. I see. Yeah. So um, I do want to take a slight detour because I'm our prep getting ready for this conversation. You mentioned bouts with cancer, and and
Yes, yes.
I fortunately I haven't had any myself, but both the siblings I'm living with have had it one form or another. I've lost friends to lung cancer and participate now in lung cancer walks every year. In fact, found out about that through my football coach who himself survived lung cancer. So
Really?
yeah.
So it's really personal for you. That's
hmm
beautiful and also sad too. It's both.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. In November of 2015, about 10 years ago now, I was diagnosed with advanced stage four metastatic right breast cancer that had
Mhm.
metastasized into my liver.
Oh no.
Actually, it was considered vascularity associated with malignancy into my liver. And I am chemically sensitive. I'm neurodivergent and probably on the spectrum somewhere.
So am I. I've devoted some time to this podcast talking about that. So
Yes, so I think there's over 1 billion of us out of the 8 billion of us on the planet who are out of the box thinkers.
mhm.
And some of us also have brain inflammation, and that's okay. Um, and gut inflammation. But needless to say, I can barely take an ibuprofen. I'm very chemically sensitive. Is it
Mhm.
that way for you too, Mike? Or
Uh, no, no, not really. But whoa, camera's
I'm
falling
going to
again.
turn
So
it. Yeah, let's turn it this way. See how that works better.
all
Is that
right,
better? Can you see my nurse shark in the background
I
there?
can. Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice. Yeah, that's from the reef here. So yes, a decade ago, I was diagnosed with end stage cancer, and I was 40 years old and about to turn 41 and was diagnosed. And my conversations were, well, I can barely take an ibuprofen. How am I going to take chemotherapy, radiation, all the
Mhm.
necessary protocols? So my primary care physician, she is retired now, but her name is Dr. Lill, Lill, and she's a phenomenal doctor of osteopathy. And maybe you know that osteopaths usually adjusted the small bones, ligaments, and fascia of the nose, ears, brain, spine,
Mhm.
osteopathy. And so she was very holistic and she told me, Tamara, you have 2 weeks from your date of diagnosis until you're going to meet with KU Med with the Oncology Center. And so I did my work, Mike. I created a protocol of 13 action steps.
Mhm.
Basically, I just pretended it was Mike coming to me with this diagnosis at the spa. And I acted as if you were my client, except I was my own client and just wrote those protocols down,
Mhm.
both based both on science and my studies and also on my intuition. And less than 2 weeks later, from the date of diagnosis, there was no sign of anything in my right breast except for um, I believe the word was debris in my right mammary
Mm-hmm.
duct. The only thing that was left was debris. And about 6 months later, there was nothing detectable in my blood serum or in my liver scans of liver cancer. So I was told that was either a medical mistake or a medical miracle. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Whatever it was. I wrote my protocols down, gave it to KU Med, and said, what if this could help other people? And they said to me that that's not really the way it works. So that's also a big impetus or reason why I'm here in Honduras, because I can freely speak about that in
Mm-hmm.
English y en español, los dos, the both of the languages, to be able to talk about that, because there is no FDA, Federal Drug Administration, there is no USDA, there is no AMA, there is no ADA, there's no governing bodies essentially. So everything is really rebellious. And that is to my advantage for somebody like me who is mostly a rule follower. But I want to be able to educate people to think outside of that box. So yes, it's been amazing just to have experienced that myself, and have scans since then that prove that my breasts and my liver and my overall health is incredible. One thing that I like to educate, and maybe this may help with some of your lung cancer friends or family who are still with us in this physical world, is that we have 50 trillion cells in our bodies, Mike. 50 trillion. And if we have cancer diagnosis, that means maybe one or two, maybe even 10 trillion of our cells are cancerous. So if we have 10 trillion out of 50 trillion, then that means that 20% of us, 25% of us is cancerous. That means 75% or 80% of us is whole and well,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Nobody talks about that in traditional medical. Maybe functional medicine, maybe doctor of osteopathy, maybe chiropractic, maybe massage and energy healing will talk about those cells that are still well. And so that for me is something that's very important to look at. What would you say your vitality is this morning, today, as we record this podcast, out of 0% being the worst day of your life and 100% being the highest vitality of your life?
I'd say I'm in the 90 range. So yeah.
Nice. That's what I
Yeah.
want to hear, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like that too. I wake up that way, and if I'm not, then I take the action steps to get myself to that high
Hmm.
vitality. And you did too, to be able to have yourself at such a high vitality today.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is followed by a couple of days not being able to sleep, focus on my other
Uh-oh.
job and all that. So
Yeah, that's pretty impressive considering all that. Being
yeah.
sleep deprived is a big part of vitality.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
used to work security. I used to be up nights. You may recall from before, but
From long ago.
from very long ago. Yeah, before we even met long ago. Yeah. So yeah, part of me is kind of used to that sort of thing. But yeah, it'd be nice to be able to get a good night's sleep and then get up. Also, not helped up by the fact Tuesday evenings I work late. Like I'm at the office by 9, but then I have to be up at 5 in the morning to get to a club at 7. And
Oh, wow. So you don't get any rest on Tuesdays, is what
yeah,
you're saying,
yeah,
generally speaking.
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
hmm
Yeah, those things consistently really affect us. And in Ayurvedic medicine, which means science of life, for
hmm
over 1 billion people, it's their primary form of medicine in India. And then, of course, we have acupuncture and TCM, or traditional Chinese medicine, in China.
hmm
Again, over 1 billion people, primary form of medicine.
right.
But yet in the West, we tend to not give it any credence, right? We don't give it a lot of weight, shall we
hmm
say. And so in Ayurveda, science of life, what that means is our bodies need to rest between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. That's our wheel of life, essentially, that all of our organs need to rest during that time. So for those of us like yourself who do work at nights, and many of us on the planet do, how do you make sure you catch back up?
hmm
One of the ways that I tease is I keep a sleep savings account, if you will, just like you keep a savings account, for money.
Right.
I like to keep a sleep savings account. So do you ever get to replenish yourself for that?
That isn't that the point of a savings account to have money in case something bad were to happen? So, yeah.
Right. Exactly. So, your podcast is uncalled for, right? And I think that's a phenomenal name, right?
You want me to tell you
Um,
the origin of the name real quick?
Please, I'd love to know. I'm sure your
So,
audience would too.
well, if I've already shared it a couple times, but I'll share it again. Came from when I did my first podcast, Sunflower Brew. Remember that? When I,
Oh, yes.
yeah, yeah, the local podcast. We did photos with all of our guests, and one particular photo was one of my favorites, Duke hoodie. And one of my political friends, saw the photo, posted a comment. That sweatshirt is uncalled for. Well, what do you want, Lisa? Yeah. Like, okay, you can wear it. um, and when I started this podcast, I thought, well, I want to keep it as lighthearted as possible. So, yeah, thinking back to that particular quote, I just said, yeah, let's have it be this podcast is uncalled for. So,
Exactly. That way we get to talk about everything that is
mhm.
is out of the box and called for and uncalled for both,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. And
So
I've used this podcast to talk about all sorts of different issues, uh, like being in film, being in board gaming, and teaching chess, and all that's and reconnecting with old friends, and talking about the subject that did bring us together, the subject of naturism. Um,
yes,
so I do
yes.
still I do still practice. In fact, uh, I came this close to appearing naked because I do sleep naked. Yeah.
Well, that may change our audience some.
Uh, it, it's all right. It's all right. I've had Ty and Mark have been both been on, and we've talked about. In fact, Mark, we did that one at a nature's event, so we were both naked for that one and everything. So,
Yeah.
and I I do still practice every day and every opportunity I can. So,
Sure, sure. It's interesting because being here, especially in Honduras, it's a Catholic country.
mhm,
And so something like that is not so normal, right? Naturism, nudism,
mhm,
just being free is not part of the social structure here. Unfortunately, it's just not. And
yeah,
so when you get further south into South America, it becomes more European based
mhm,
and still Catholic based. But because you have the European influence, naturism is not an issue. But here in this small, tiny community, it is.
mhm,
And we also have, so many school children. And so there's different parameters, right?
mhm,
And I remember that the first time I came here in 2019 with my former spouse, it was Halloween.
mhm,
And I had a costume on that showed quite a bit of skin. It was an adult costume. It was nighttime. I was with my husband, my former husband. I was with another friend. And I remember somebody drove by, Mike, and called me cochina, dirty girl, dirty, dirty girl. That's a very naughty term. That's
right.
no different than, any other derogatory term for women in the United States or in the English language. And I got rid of that costume after that because it really made me retract. It made me realize cultural appropriateness for where I am. So it's been very interesting, and I also am now a board member for the Methodist school here, and
Mhm,
so there's a modicum of behavior that's really important.
all right.
So
I see. Yeah.
it's very different. It's very interesting to be someplace where the machismo culture, the male dominated culture here is certainly like nothing I've ever experienced living in both California and Kansas, the
Mhm,
two states that I had lived in. I had never have experienced anything like that, but it is here. And so we are also in a dive community And it's the dive mecca, if you will, for 18 to 35-year-olds coming because it's such a small island and it's so cheap to scuba dive here. Let's say you wanted to come here and get your open water certification. It's under $300 to do that here. And it takes you a short time frame, 2 or 3, 4 days. But if you were to do that in Kansas City, let's say, that class cost would be closer to over $1,000.
I believe
for that same, right? For the same, and it would take you a lot longer than 3 or 4 days. And you would have to travel and you'd have to go to a pool and then a lake. And then instead you can just come here to the Caribbean Sea. And so because we have that huge, 18 to 35-year-old international travelers coming through, what you see oftentimes is you see not so much men without their shirt, but you see a lot of women, especially European women. So they're wearing thongs, they're wearing skimpy bikinis. And this is a community, so they don't put on a cover up. And they are looked very, very down upon here. Very, very down upon because it is such a small island. Because it was also a British island, you had lots of British pirates who were hiding from Britain. And so you have that lawless culture, but yet it's this mismatch of an undercurrent of different things. So it's very intriguing to observe and to be here. So, yeah, I do deal with cultural fatigue. Have you ever been to Honduras, Mike?
No, I've never been outside the U.S. Funny enough.
Really? Wow. Yeah, there's a lot to see even in the United States. So it's hard to
that's true. Oh, that's certainly true. Yeah. So.
And expensive.
Yeah, that's the big thing is the expense thing. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think as close as we can get to being natural, I think if left to our own regard, I believe maybe other people think this way too, that our bodies are meant to heal. And heal doesn't mean fixing, heal means balancing. So I think that the closer we can be to nature, both in our bodies and around us, having natural sunlight, waking up to that natural sunlight, going to sleep when the sun sets, all of those aspects. And like you say, for you, not having clothes on and doing podcasts in that direction too. The closer you feel, I assume, to being whole and to being well, right?
Right.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, I think we'll go on, because we are running out of time, I'll go on end here for the recording parts. I think we'll stick around and talk a little more after I finish the recording.
Great. Sounds great.
And for everyone listening, thank you again for listening, and we will talk again soon.
Thank you all so much, and thank you, Mike, for facilitating this.
This podcast is Uncalled For, is hosted, produced, and edited by myself, Mike Chernevsky. The opening music is This Podcast is Uncalled For theme, and it's created at suno.com, suno.com. And our outro music is Island Breeze by Dirk Daler, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 International License. You can find Dirk's music at freemusicarchive.org.
Please support the podcast and purchase our exclusive Uncalled For merchandise. T-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, and so much more. Go to www.cafepress.com/uncalledforpod. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time.